Well. YouTube video number 2. Yeah, it's happening. You're seeing it. It's not a joke. It's real. And I figured, you know what? I've been busy all day on calls. Turn that off. Busy all day on calls, crazy with work, and I have like a 20-minute window. So I was like, you know what? This is the first real promo we've had. Let's dive into it. Let's get an in-depth review a little bit on the Rulebreakers promo. Right? And I think this actually looks like it's going to be a really, really fun promo. You can see the cards on the screen. I'm sure everyone's already talked about them a million different times. So I know I'm late to the game, but I'll dive into all of them, kind of give you my, and what I think about these cards specifically and how I feel about the promo itself. So first and foremost, we'll switch over. We have an SBC release. It was Inaki Williams. I actually like this a lot. There are 2 iterations of Inaki Williams you can choose. Now, the actual promo itself costs what looks like around $100K on PlayStation and $110K on Xbox. Now, Inaki Williams is an interesting player at the end of the day. First of all, you get back a Premium Electrum Players Pack and a Jumbo Premium Gold Pack. Now, when you look at the 2 cards, for some reason, EA has yet to... Footbin does not have the total stat breakdown in the second version of the card, but I think this is the one you're going to go with anyway. So one highlights him more as a shooting, his shooting stats, and the other one highlights his dribbling stats more. And considering the Hunter chem style is a very useful chem style in this game, I think having something that allows you to specifically highlight and not need to focus on his dribbling ability, while also then just being able to throw a Hunter on this card and tackle him as a really, really top tier striker in the game is super interesting. Now, the one caveat about Inaki Williams that has really plagued his card for a long time is that he does have 2-star weak foot. I don't believe that weak foot is as prevalent in this version of FIFA as it was last year. I think you could get this card to work. I think he would let you down sometimes on that weak foot for sure. But nonetheless, this card looks amazing. You're having a top pace, incredible dribbling, phenomenal shooting stats. Honestly, good enough stats in terms of passing. Really, really good physical stats. He looks like he'd be a really, really fun, pacey striker that could help you out. At 110K or 100K, he is expensive. I would say that I would only do this if you feel like you have a place for him. 100,000 coins is a lot of coins this early in the game. And we've seen a lot of cards getting released. I think you'll probably see a couple other rule breaker cards that will be released. I would guess by EA, they're not just going to release just Inaki Williams. So I would only do this if it makes sense for your team. But I do think, even though he's a 2-star weak foot, he could be a really, really good card in-game. Okay, I think he could be a really good card in-game. Here's the other version, just to give you an idea. It doesn't have the stats of that you'd want to kind of dive into Inaki Williams. But nonetheless, I just don't think this is the right one to go with. Because since the Hunter Chem style can make his shooting stats where they need to be, I think having something that is focused, having a card that is specifically already has his dribbling taken care of is a much more powerful way to use this card. So I would go with the other version, specifically if you were to do this SBC. As we move forward, we had an objective release, and this is awesome. This is an awesome objective from EA. This is a phenomenal card to release via objective. One, it's incredibly linkable, right? A French card in FIFA, you guys know how they give out French specials nonstop in FIFA. This card is incredibly linkable. It has long-term usability, which is great. He's also in the Bundesliga. You think about the Klosterman links, right? If you were crafting towards Sabitzer, if you did Axel Witsel, if you're looking at Delaney, there's already a pretty decent amount. Kramaric, right? That wants to watch card. I can't remember his name. There's a lot of Bundesliga already base cards in this game. And so this card is not only linkable, but also just good. He's just good. Really great pace for this point in the game. Phenomenal dribbling. Phenomenal dribbling for a defender. I mean, that is ridiculous, especially considering that this game, you could technically, in this game, really, really utilize, like, wing backs. He'd be a great center back. He'd be a phenomenal wing back. He'd be a great right back. This card is just awesome. And it's a card that you can get by just simply playing the game. Now, it's not a lot of it's in Rivals, and there are some difficult tasks to achieve. But this card is amazing. This card is amazing for how early in the game we are. It has long-term use. It's a very community-friendly card. I think this is a huge dub from EA. As we move forward, we'll go through some of the players. So first of all, Harry Kane looks awesome. I mean, this is a card that has been needed for a long time. 3-star, 4-star. Harry Kane's a great player in real life. It's fun to have a great player in real life potentially be great in this game. And when you look at this card could be great. His dribbling is fantastic. You could touch it. You don't have to if you don't really want to. You could literally throw a hunter on him. He's a freak of nature this early in the game, right? I mean, this card is awesome. I'm sure there's a bunch of different chem styles you could utilize in this card to make him just unbelievable. I mean, look at those physical stats with the hawk, right? This card is just sick. It's just a sick card. It has a really, really cool look to it, and I also think it's just awesome to have a card that should be usable in the game, right? Harry Kane should have usable cards in this game, and in the first promo of the year, you have a potentially, if you're a Spurs fan, if you're a Harry Kane fan, if you're an England national team fan, you have a Harry Kane card that you could use for a long time. I think that's fantastic. As we move forward, Douglas Costa, he's a card that's always relevant in this game every single year. Brazilian, Bayern Munich. You think of all the links that are associated to just Bayern in general. You talk about the Mukalele. Once again, a lot of like Bundesliga options here. 5-star, 3-star. I think 3-star we put is usable in this game, especially at this point in the game as well. He looks awesome. His dribbling is phenomenal. You could do a lot of different things with this card, whether you wanted to do a catalyst to just make him just that playmaking phenom. Maybe he and his shooting is already good enough where you don't necessarily need to touch it, but you could if you wanted to. You could even say, you know what, we're going to throw a hunter on him. He looks freakishly good. Freakishly good. Awesome card. Once again, I think this promo is tremendous. These cards look great. Laporte, phenomenal card. French, once again, Prem links. Pacey, right? Laporte is a card that was usable in last year's FIFA and even usable in this year's FIFA when he hasn't had the most pace. Now he has pace, right? This is another card that's really, really fun to use. Really, really linkable. Think of all the Manchester City links alone, let alone the Premier League links, let alone the French links that this card would be available with. And this is, once again, a card I think that could last a really long time. I think that's the one thing that's cool about this promo is that these cards, I think, have long-term usability. Llorente doesn't look too different than I think his typical card does. Llorente's regular card in this game is good. This card is a solid option in this game as well. He looks really, really like balanced, like a really long-term box-to-box midfield option. You need to boost his dribbling for sure. Whether you want to use him specifically as like a defensive midfielder, you could do something like a guardian with him or something. I'm sure there's a lot of different chem options. This one I'm not like super excited about, but considering how many people use cards in La Liga this year, considering how much this card is usable in this game this year, I think his price tag is maybe inflated just because he is such a since so many people have Llorente in their side, I think people think this card is like a must get, but I don't think this card is maybe as valuable as a 300,000 coin card. Okay. Mertens is an interesting one. I don't think this is a crazy change of pace for Mertens. He looks really good. It seems like what a Mertens with like an Informer 2 would look like in previous FIFAs. Once again, though, good card. Very linkable, right? There's a 9-gallon link already within this own promo in terms of Insigne and Chucky Lozano, right? Osimhen, already just in Napoli alone, there's a lot of links. If you have a meta team, if you have the coins, right? The Ronaldos of the world could link up with this card, right? You can do some really fun stuff with the Serie A already, so that's great. As we move forward, his hyperlink friend, Mr. Nainggolan, who's a FIFA legend, 3-star, 3-star. Once again, I don't think there's ever going to be a version of this card that just isn't flat out fun to use. This card's great. I think he's one of those guys that, once again, can play as a cam. He can play as a box-to-box midfielder. He can play as a bunch of different things. He can play all over the park, right? He's high work rates, phenomenal stamina. There's not going to be an era of Raja Nainggolan that isn't usable in this game, right? So he's great. This is kind of one of the more underwhelming ones. Andre, right? He's got some really, really good. He originally just as a cam in this game, and now he's a CDM. He's 3-star, 3-star, and he has a lot of really good stats to make him a solid defender. You could even say, like, okay, I'm going to throw a shadow on this guy and just make him a pure CDM. I think this is a card that you could pack and use. Once again, French links, which is great. He's not going to knock your socks off by any means, but he is what looks like a very usable card, and I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what you're looking for here. He has high work rates, good stam. I think in this game where you're having guys that need to be pacey, need to have pace in that DM role, with the shadow, this card could be a pretty decent DM. And maybe even a box-to-box if you wanted to use him that way. His passing stats are okay, like pretty decent, but his dribbling is phenomenal. As you move forward, Ocampos, nothing overwhelming here from the card perspective. 4-star, 3-star. I think this is kind of one of those guys He's a very tall player in real life, which makes me feel like he would be clunky in this game. I have a feeling this card may not be that fun to use. Doesn't have like that top tier pace. Has good shooting. Has good stats. His passing is really, really tremendous. But with a hunter, he looks good. But I could see this being one of those guys that's a little bit clunky in game. As you move forward, I think this guy could have a really, really, really strong card. So Kamara, they took off his pace, right? Which I think is kind of a miss. This is a very pacey card in real life and a really, really phenomenal left back. His team of the season card last year was out of this world. And this card looks like it could be really, really solid. He could use a little bit of love on the strength side of things, but his dribbling is so good. His balance is so high, his agility. It seems like this could be a very, very good card to use. And considering he has okay passing and pretty good dribbling, once again, great left back, great wing back. I think he's a card that could be very versatile in this game. If you needed somebody to get forward for you in some formations, like if you started in like let's say you start into like a 4-5-1, you move into a 3-5-2. I do think this card could hold it down for you a little bit on like that left mid coming back on defense spot. We use him in our team, his base card, at that right mid spot, and he does a really, really good job. So there's that guy too. Lazari, once again, this is kind of one of the more, lame versions of a card. Great positioning, great finishing, but there's just, I don't know. He's 3-star, nothing special here, right? I mean, this is one of those guys that if he comes out in the pack, you're like, cool, I packed a rule breaker, but not a game changer, right? And last but not least is Dumfries. I think this card's actually really, really good. I think this card's probably slept on a little bit. He looks awesome. He has great dribbling, defending, physical, and pace already stats. If you wanted to throw a shadow on him, he's an animal, right? He's pacey. He's 2-star, 3-star with high work rates. People in the past have used this guy as a center back in previous FIFAs. And high work rates is a little bit for a center, what could be a center back, right? But I think this card has the ability to be versatile as not only a right back, but also as a center back in this game. And you could probably, I'm sure in the very short period of time, there'll be a lot of Dutch links that will come out. But in the current time, he could be someone you could plug and play into the game. Or you could utilize maybe some like low-level informs that came out in the Eredivisie, pair him up with like a Van Dijk, for example, or even a Nathan Ake, and kind of have him as a really, really solid defender that could work for you. I think this card at 45K, when you compare him to like the 30K for this Lazari, or even you go over to like the Andre card at 60K, this might not actually be, he's not going to change your entire game, but I think this is actually a really, really talented card in this game. That is a review of all the players, guys. I'm really excited. We have a pack opening night. We have our packs on stream. We have Kyle's packs on stream. We're going to have a fun time if the servers ever actually get themselves together. Classic EA, they release a promo, weekend league up, and the servers are down. It's just par for the course at this point with these guys. But I'm very excited. The first promo of the year. Hopefully we pack someone the first on RTG. We could desperately use a super big-time player that could kind of change the course of the team or just give us a second team option moving forward. Regardless, guys, best luck with your packs. I will catch you beauties for a stream later. And hopefully, if you guys did pack any of these, show us in the comments below what you packed. And I look forward to catching you guys on stream later. I'll see you when I see you.